Councillors, please stand. Almighty God, we, the representatives of the citizens of the City of Brisbane, are assembled here to strive and care for the welfare of our city and all its people. Lord, we ask you to guide us in the decisions we make today. Amen. We acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we meet and pay our respects to elders past and present. Please be seated. I declare the meeting open. Are there any apologies? Councillor Landers.
Chair, I move that Councillor Cunningham be granted a leave of absence for today's meeting.
Seconded.
It's been moved by Councillor Landers, seconded by Councillor Hutton, that Councillor Cunningham be granted a leave of absence from today's meeting. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. And those against, please say no. The ayes have it. Councillors, you would know that for these meetings we sign the attendance book. The attendance book today is in the old telephone nook near where Mr Pearce is standing. Please sign it at your convenience. Can I draw to your attention on the agenda the Lord Mayor's budget presentation? The Lord Mayor.
Thank you, Mr Chair. Before proceeding with my budget presentation, I'd like to point out that a copy of each budget submission for the 2021-22 financial year has been placed in front of each councillor, and a full set of documents have been tabled. Well, Mr Chair, just over 14 months ago, Brisbane residents made the choice to elect me as their Lord Mayor, together with my passionate team of local councillors. It is an honour and a privilege to receive their support, and every day my team and I work to make sure we meet residents' expectations. Amid the unprecedented circumstances of a global pandemic, the people of Brisbane chose experience. They chose a united team with a clear plan for their city and a proven track record of sensible financial management. There was no rule book for dealing with a pandemic. There's no easy-to-read cheat sheet for what to do as the crisis unfolded. We faced lockdowns of our borders, the closure of our businesses and schools, the complete shutdown of entire industries. There was no reliable forecast on how long the pandemic would go on or what the potential cost would be. But Brisbane residents entrusted us to make the necessary long-term decisions and the right choices to guide our city during these extraordinary circumstances. And that, Mr Chair, is precisely what we did. We could have chosen to delay critical infrastructure projects like Brisbane Metro. However, as our city emerges from the coronavirus crisis with a rapidly growing population and demand for efficient, high-frequency public transport is poised to escalate, that would have been the wrong choice, Mr Chair. We could have cut back on our ongoing maintenance program, on roads, on footpaths, parks and community facilities. Instead, we identified work to bring forward and to fast-track, because that was the right choice, Mr Chair. We could have chosen to postpone initiatives like our Victoria Park Vision or our suite of green bridges. However, the livability of Brisbane is so important to residents and to us that doing so would have been the wrong choice. What we did instead is ask people to hold on to their unwanted items a little bit longer. And it was part of a temporary 2-year pause to curbside collection. Now, there's been some criticism of that decision, particularly in recent months as community concern about COVID has receded. Yet the choice that we made gave us the flexibility necessary to inject direct support into the sectors of our city that were crying out for help, Mr Chair. The position we find ourselves in today demonstrates very clearly that we made the right choice. Our decision to waive fees and to provide grants helped thousands of businesses and not-for-profit organisations, many who saw their income vanish overnight. We waived more than $1.8 million in fees for renovators to help the struggling building industry, and this prompted hundreds of people to bring forward and continue plans to upgrade their homes, adding everything from new kitchens and bathrooms to back decks and family pools. Just recently, I met Gaythorne couple Carla and Rowan together with their children Franklin and Lachlan. They were among the many residents who took advantage of our fee waiver, saving almost $2,000 as a result. Their renovated Queenslander will be a special family home. But the real economic dividend from this and from what we did was the numerous tradies that they helped keep employed. The plumbers, the chippies, the sparkies, who all faced uncertain times for themselves and their families. We waived a further $6.5 million in fees for almost 7,000 of our embattled food businesses, directly benefiting cafes, restaurants and bakeries in every part of Brisbane. Among the relieved recipients were people like Sonia and her husband Howard, who own the popular Stones Corner Cafe Lady Marmalade. I can report that this business is back in full swing and they continue to serve excellent food and coffee. I encourage you all to drop by. We also awarded grants through our direct assistance program to hundreds of not-for-profit community, sporting, recreational and cultural organisations throughout the city. These organisations were genuinely at risk of collapse while restrictions were in place and their bills kept on mounting up. My office has received many thank you letters as a result of the range of groups that we supported. People like Trish Latter from Downey Park Netball, who wrote to let me know how the grant that they received would enable the club to provide netball facilities for their 4,500 member families. And Chris Fablier from Banyo Rugby League Club, who wrote to say how excited they were to receive our support after such a difficult time during the pandemic. These kind of responses from residents, community groups, cafes and clubs tell me something. We made the right choices. We promised the people of Brisbane that we would carefully steer our city through this crisis, and that's exactly what we've done. The choices we made are why we can deliver the budget that we are today. One that uses our success in tackling COVID as a springboard to build an even better Brisbane. Mr. Chair, our $3.6 billion budget, which I hand down today, once again gets the priorities right. After weathering a crisis, Brisbane is bouncing back strongly. Our budget is about building on that momentum, getting the basics right while addressing the challenges to come from massive population growth. We're determined for Brisbane not to be a victim of its own success. At the centre of this budget is a record $3.6 billion investment in infrastructure. It will see roads, libraries, bridges, footpaths, bikeways and many other things built across the suburbs of our beautiful city. 86% of budget funding goes directly to the suburbs. We're not taking our foot off the pedal. We're getting on with the job of building Brisbane with an energy and an enthusiasm that people expect from their city leaders. Our program includes significant funding to push ahead with big projects and small. From the $218 million to gear up major construction on Brisbane Metro, which will deliver game-changing turn-up-and-go services across 18 stations, to $58,000 for footpath improvements around the Seven Hills State School, all about helping kids get to class safer. As you know, Mr. Chair, our efforts are unashamedly focused on Brisbane's suburbs. We do this because local neighbourhoods are where people live, work and relax. They are critical to the vitality of Brisbane, which is now growing at a faster rate than any other capital city in Australia. Our Better Suburbs program steps up to meet the challenges of growth. Brisbane people have told us how much they love our clean and green city. It's why so many visitors come here for a holiday and end up staying for a lifetime. Our world-class parks, our modern playgrounds and urban forests set us apart from the sprawl of other capital cities. We're committed to maintaining and enhancing and expanding on this advantage. This budget continues to invest in our exciting Victoria Park vision, which will transform the existing golf course into a 64-hectare green wonderland for everyone to enjoy. These things are possible, Mr. Chair, because of our sensible and responsible stewardship of Brisbane's finances, and because we took the quick and decisive action during pandemic that was required. Today, I can reveal that despite the unprecedented situation we faced, and despite a massive reduction in income, we deliver yet another balanced budget, a budget in the black. This result hasn't happened by accident, and it's in stark contrast with the latest round of financial mismanagement Queenslanders witnessed yesterday in George Street. The government has tried to distract residents with the claim that there could be a surprise surplus coming, but not this year, not next year, or the year after, maybe in 2025. It's not guaranteed, just a maybe. and is based on truly heroic claims of spending restraint over many years. We know what their record is when it comes to spending restraint. Meanwhile, state debt continues to grow at the same time as they've made a massive cut to infrastructure funding. All of this at a time when our population is exploding thanks to interstate migration. Now, unlike the state budget yesterday, the balanced, responsible budget that we're delivering today should not be a surprise to anyone. It's no surprise that yet again we're balancing the books. This is my third budget as Lord Mayor and my third balanced budget. As anyone who runs a family or a business budget knows, responsible budgeting means we can reinvest the dividends into providing the future infrastructure and services needed to build an even better Brisbane. It means we can fund the things that Brisbane people know and love about their suburbs while investing in the necessary planning for the future. Mr Chair, I can also confirm curbside collection is back, 12 months ahead of our plan, because strong and responsible financial management has ensured that this initiative is now affordable. Now, we won't be lectured by those who confuse the magic pudding with an economic textbook, by those who would have abandoned our residents, our businesses and our community groups in their hour of need. We're also not washing our hands of responsibility to continue providing the economic stimulus and support that those sectors need who are struggling still to get on their feet. Mr Chair, today I can reveal that we're slashing footpath dining fees by 50% for another 12 months. This measure will provide direct savings to our wonderful array of cafes and restaurants that are already taking advantage of our great subtropical climate to provide outdoor dining. Cutting these fees in half will make it more affordable for local businesses to take up this option, to grow their business and hopefully, Mr Chair, to employ more people. We're able to deliver these initiatives despite Council taking a massive hit in revenue during COVID. Our program of record infrastructure investment, ongoing stimulus and our Better Suburbs program will require a modest increase in rates, Mr Chair. The $1.20 a week rise for the average household will still mean that Brisbane has the cheapest residential rates in South East Queensland. We will continue to support our pensioners by providing them with a welcome rebate off their rates of up to 40%. This will directly benefit more than 41,000 households. Mr Chair, as I mentioned earlier, we are unapologetic that our focus is on the suburbs of Brisbane. From Brighton to Burbank, Moreton Island to Lake Manchester, Brisbane isn't just a CBD like many capital city councils. It's a massive landmass of more than 1,300 square kilometres. We have a population of more than 1.2 million people. Now, that's twice the number of all the state capitals combined and about the same amount as the state of Tasmania, the Australian Capital Territory and the Northern Territory combined. This makes us unique in local government in Australia. And there are numerous advantages from being a city of our size. None of them are more important, Mr Chair, than our ability to support the suburbs with world-class infrastructure. We don't just focus on a few dozen central business district streets. Instead, we deliver critical infrastructure that connects people to major facilities where people participate in their favourite pastimes, as well as the festivals and events which make the Brisbane of tomorrow even better. The days of a narrow focus on just roads and rubbish are long gone. Our focus on better suburbs is vital for two reasons. Not only will it deliver additional and improved infrastructure and better facilities to meet our growing population, but it will also be an important stimulus that employs people, helping our community to recover. Mr Chair, in news I'm confident that you'll personally agree is among the best of this budget, and also an initiative I'm very proud of, is I can reveal that we will deliver a brand new community centre in Windsor. It was great to be out with you on site just recently as part of this announcement. This facility will be used by sporting groups, community clubs and other arts and cultural organisations for their activities. Demand for community facilities like this has surpassed pre-pandemic levels for the young and not so young as we emerge from COVID isolation and want to re-engage with our community. We're also investing in an upgrade of the Hamilton Town Hall, which once was a meeting place for the local council before the amalgamation of Brisbane in the 1920s. I'm sure this will be music to the ears for the groups who regularly use this historic space. including Observatory Theatre and the ravishing Fashionistas. I can also reveal today that we'll be building a state-of-the-art new library at Everton Park. This won't be just a minor upgrade or a new lick of paint, but a brand new $11.6 million facility in the suburbs, just like we promised at last year's election. The new Everton Park Library adds to our record of building new libraries. Our opponents close down libraries, we build new libraries. And it will be constructed at the existing South Pine Road site. The new Everton Park Library will enable a bigger range of activities and events and include additional meeting space. Through the purchase of extra land, we're able to provide a new vehicle entry into the adjoining Fallon Park, as well as some new playground equipment. I can't wait, Mr Chair, for the official opening. From the indoors to the great outdoors, we're investing in sport grounds right across our amazing city, because improving participation in sports has enormous benefits for our society. These fields are where dreams become a reality for all ages, and Brisbane residents deserve state-of-the-art facilities, particularly, Mr Chair, given we're on the brink of potentially becoming an Olympic city. These include an upgrade of Griffin Park in Kangaroo, home to the Mighty Kings AFL club, as well as the Barbecue Mafia crew. In Chelmer, we're spending $1.2 million upgrading off-field facilities, which will include a refurbished clubhouse, better spectator areas and new change rooms. It's happening in partnership with Queensland Cricket, AFL Queensland, Western Suburbs District Cricket Club and the Kenmore Bears. And today, Mr Chair, I can announce a new community and sport partnership program. This is a 4-year, $6.6 million initiative where we'll partner with organisations to deliver improvements to facilities after they've secured funding from other sources. So it may be community grants, it may be state or federal grants. We want to leverage that up to do more for our communities. Amid the maelstrom of COVID and the pandemic, it was forgotten that some of these clubs did it incredibly tough. We didn't forget it, but others have. As mentioned, we came to their aid through grants and fee relief, and we're not finished helping yet. This new program will help them rebuild even better. We cannot afford to let these clubs diminish because of the important work they've performed in weaving communities together. And I'm determined that won't happen under my watch. In partnership with the Morrison government, we're investing in sports facilities at the Whites Hill Reserve in Camp Hill at the Brisbane Metropolitan Touch Association. It's an incredibly popular football code that continues to grow and is good for both men and women. Our strong financial position, even after the COVID pandemic, means we're able to continue supporting festivals right across our city. And this year, our commitment totals an impressive $5.2 million. There are, of course, the significant festivals in our events calendar that everyone knows, like the Brisbane Festival or the Queensland Music Festival. But even more exciting are the vast array of smaller suburban events, like the Acacia Ridge Party in the Park, the Ferny Grove Festival, and I could go on and on. There are so many amazing events that bring our community together. And it's important that after what people have been through this past year, that we support these festivals. These are just a few examples of our huge investment in the suburbs. As well, there's the massive suburban road resurfacing program, smoother suburban streets, regular suburban grass cutting and our ongoing maintenance of parkland and green space. It's about getting the basics right while we invest in the things that will deliver a better Brisbane. After all, better suburbs equals a better Brisbane. Mr Chair, we owe it to the people of Brisbane to ensure we build the infrastructure that is necessary to cater for a growing city. Doing this will improve the city's livability for all residents, regardless of where they live. In the past, Brisbane has experienced exactly what happens when our population booms and other levels of government drop the ball. The results are diabolical and take years to address. And if you think about many of the major projects that we've stepped up to invest in, they are things that other levels of government should be doing. But we've stepped in to fill the void to make sure that Brisbane's livability keeps improving, and we will keep doing that. Since I became the city's Lord Mayor, I've pushed ahead with an ambitious focus on building our future. It's an agenda which will ensure people can get to and from work faster, that delivers more active travel options, and an agenda that embraces our region's amazing outdoor subtropical climate. Today, this budget sets out the biggest 3-year infrastructure program that the city has ever seen. It's affordable because we helped our businesses and our community get through the global pandemic. And it's necessary as more Australians look to make a lifestyle change here in the Queensland capital. Who can blame them? Under our $1.2 billion capital works program next financial year, construction of the Brisbane Metro will continue. As Councillor Shree mentioned yesterday, it's a game changer for Brisbane. It will offer turn-up-and-go services to commuters so that timetables will become a thing of the past. This project is being delivered in partnership with the Morrison federal government. It's a project that will alleviate existing bottlenecks in the system, and it's a problem that my administration is willing to step in and solve in the absence of other solutions. Our cutting-edge metro vehicles will get recharged at our purpose-built facility at the Rochedale Metro Depot. There'll also be fast-charging facilities out and about on the busway, making them the cleanest and greenest option other than walking or cycling, of course. In the short term, Brisbane Metro will create more than 2,600 jobs during construction, which is another important stimulus for our economy. There will also be numerous opportunities for local companies to supply this project and others. This will build on our council's commitment to buying local, which we've demonstrated by achieving our 80% sourcing target from locally within South East Queensland. With Brisbane a step closer to winning the Olympics and Paralympic Games in 2032, the Metro will be even more important for the future as a critical way to move people around our city in what would be a major and historic event. Importantly, Brisbane Metro will help future-proof the transport network and will be capable of servicing the northern suburbs up to Chermside and beyond, and the eastern suburbs as far out as Capalaba if the state delivers their full busway network. We're also building Brisbane's existing transport network even better, and our residents will reap the benefits regardless of where they lived. As promised, this year we've delivered 60 new air-conditioned buses, which further enhances our reputation of having one of Australia's best bus fleets. We've also begun a trial of 4 electric buses, which service the popular Free City Loop. This will help us assess our future use of this technology and meet our commitment to keeping Brisbane clean and green. We'll also continue to fund our popular blue and maroon city gliders. Combined, they were carrying more than 4.3 million commuter trips a year prior to the pandemic. We're also undertaking planning for a new edition, the Gold City Glider. And so if we are successful in putting this forward and seeking state co-funding, this will service the rapidly growing Hamilton North Shore precinct along the newly upgraded Kingston Smith Drive gateway to the city, through Brisbane out to Woolloongabba as a potential Olympic venue. It's gold because we're going for gold with the Olympics. For those who use the river as their mode of transport, we'll be completing the construction of 2 more locally built double-decker city cats this year at the Murray facility. There's more vessels to come in future years. And today I can confirm that we're getting on with the specialised refurbishment of our monohull ferries. Today, we will be allocating $4 million over 2 years to ensure 3 of these vessels can be returned to service on our river, together with the 5 new Kitty Cat vessels. We've also committed $25.5 million in funding towards new ferry terminals, including at South Bank. We're also planning and progressing upgrades at Mowbray Park and Dockside. And one addition that is sure to excite many people in Brisbane is the completion of a new ferry terminal at Howard Smith Wharves. The terminal will allow people to travel seamlessly on the water between this popular new precinct, the CBD and also South Bank. Mr Chair, as you are no doubt aware, this administration has invested more than $330 million in bikeway infrastructure in recent years. Anyone who has looked at a map of Brisbane's bikeways on the council website would marvel at how they continue to grow and how they now crisscross the city and the suburbs, providing excellent options for everyone from committed cyclists to families eager to have some fun. The recently completed Indooroopilly Bikeway is just one piece of the jigsaw puzzle that continues to grow each year, and our Greenbridge program is another critical link in that active transport network. The importance of these investments has increased dramatically with the influx of personal e-bikes and e-scooters, which are getting more and more popular every week that goes by. I know that Brisbane people are eager to see progress on our exciting Green Bridges initiative. I'm asked about it regularly as I move around the city. Now, I can tell you, in this budget, our Green Bridges are being delivered. They're being built. Construction will start later this year on the Kangaroo Point Green Bridge and early next year on the Breakfast Creek Green Bridge. I'm determined to deliver these bridges. Now, it would be better if it was in a partnership with other levels of government, and we'll continue to work on that. But I know what they will do for the interconnectivity and sustainability of our suburb. I know what they will do to reduce traffic congestion and create a cleaner and greener Brisbane. I can reveal today that over the next 4 years of our 10-year Green Bridge program, we will invest $294 million to significantly move this program forward. Our Kangaroo Point Green Bridge has been talked about at many different levels for many years. People realise this is a missing piece of the Brisbane active transport puzzle. The prospect of a revitalised Gabba Stadium makes this bridge even more essential because it will provide a direct link to the CBD. Along with a new crossing at Breakfast Creek, we've also recently unveiled the landing points for the Toowong to West End and West End to St Lucia Green Bridges. This happened after an extensive community consultation process and shows strong community support, Mr Chair. Our council is responsible for $10 billion worth of transport and traffic infrastructure, and this includes almost 5,800 kilometres of roads. Now, that is a significant thing in itself. It's equivalent to a highway from Brisbane to Hobart and back again. Wow. It's an enormous network by any standards, and it's vital that we continue to maintain it and improve it, because people directly benefit each day and their lives and livelihoods are impacted. As residents of Brisbane's West would know, work is about to get underway on the Indooroopilly roundabout upgrade. It's a $128 million project which will significantly improve travel conditions and safety through that very busy part of Brisbane. In the south, we're investing $42.4 million to upgrade.
What about homelessness?
Councillor
What about homelessness, Lord Mayor? You're spending hundreds of millions of dollars on road widening, millions of dollars on...
Councillor Tree.
Where's the funding for affordable housing? Where's the funding for crisis support?
Councillor Shree, I consider you are displaying unsuitable meeting conduct in accordance with section 21(5) of the Meetings Local Law 2001. I hereby request that you cease yelling into the meeting and refrain. Councillor Shree, I consider that you are displaying unsuitable meeting conduct, and in accordance with section 21(5) of the Meetings Local Law 2001, I make an order reprimanding you for your conduct, and your conduct will be noted in the minutes of the meeting, and if you do this again, you will be removed from the meeting. The Lord Mayor.
Thank you, Mr Chair. In the south, we're investing $42.4 million to upgrade the Rochedale and Priestdale Road intersection. We're undertaking the Gardiner Road extension to meet the needs of this fast-growing part of our city. We're also undertaking design work for Ritchie Road at Pollara, another of our city's booming suburbs, and our budget for resurfacing works this year will be $90 million as we invest what's needed to maintain this massive road network. As a particular priority will be focused on improving safety around our schools, because as a parent, I know that children are amongst the most vulnerable of our road users. This year, we're undertaking improvement works around the Jindalee and Newmarket State Schools, around Runcorn High, State High, and Lords Hill and Moreton Bay Colleges. Over the next 3 years, we'll deliver on our commitment to install 100 SAMs for schools this term. Speed awareness monitors. These digital smiling speed awareness signs have been proven to be an effective way to get drivers to slow down, with positive reinforcement on roads that have a history of speeding. An investment in new and improved footpaths will hit a record of $13.4 million next financial year, with 90% of it in the suburbs. Mr Chair, Brisbane is known as Australia's cleanest and greenest city, and this reputation has not happened by chance. We've been resolute in our commitment to maintaining and enhancing this reputation. It's what Brisbane residents, new and established, love about the place that they call home. It's one of the foundations of our growing success as a tourist destination. Our council is Australia's largest carbon neutral government. Now, we've gone about this without much fanfare because it was the right thing to do for our climate and for our city. We've invested significant sums in bushland acquisition, in conservation reserves, in urban forests and in cleaning up our waterways. We've invested in keeping the green heart and lungs of our city healthy as a result. We care for a network of over 2,100 parks across the city, from the large iconic destinations like the Brisbane Botanic Gardens at Mount Cootha, the City Botanic Gardens, through to a plethora of suburban parks, big and small, sometimes no bigger than a suburban block, but so critical for local residents. As every parent and many grandparents and carers would attest, you quickly become a connoisseur of your local parks when children are small, especially if you're looking for easy ways to get them active and healthy and out of the house. It's why we've ensured our parks are well maintained and their playgrounds continue to improve. Mr Chair, we aren't resting on our laurels. Over the next 4 years, we'll invest $78 million buying bushland, maintaining conservation reserves, managing weeds and investing in environmental offsets. However, we're not locking away all of these environmental areas from the people of Brisbane. We want people to have the opportunity to enjoy them, to experience them, to love their green spaces, because they're not important just for animals and wildlife, but for people. For example, this year we'll be spending more than $500,000 on our off-road cycling tracks. Now, we know there's a lot of passionate people who love the thrill of travelling downhill mountain bike track, and we want them to do so safely and sustainably. And so we'll be supporting a project once our draft off-road cycling strategy is complete to roll out and invest in new tracks in appropriate green spaces. Of course, a project that has been quickly embraced by Brisbane residents is my vision to transform Victoria Park. We're about to take over the fairways and begin filling in the sand bunkers so people can use this place for picnics and other activities. Over the next year, we'll spend $15 million on our vision for Victoria Park, which will become, I have no doubt, Brisbane's premier destination and green space, somewhere everyone will want to visit and enjoy. However, our investment in our parks stretches far beyond this one single location. We'll spend more than $6 million on our major improvement of Kedron's Bradbury Park, and we'll commence the delivery of much-needed improvements within the historic Mowbray Park. And there's new parks in the works for McGregor and Richlands, as well as a $2.4 million commitment towards playground equipment upgrades and new kids' scooter tracks. Mr Chair, not all the activities we incorporate into our parks are for the young, and Councillor Mackay knows this, not because of his age, but because of his free Ninja Warrior course at Guyot Park in St Lucia, which has been a resounding success. So we'll spend $659,000 over the next 2 years delivering 3 more of these ninja courses. And I expect there will be councillors banging down my door asking for further of these facilities. Mr Chair, in exciting news, I also want to announce the establishment of the new Brisbane Sustainability Agency. It's a body which will have an important role in the future of our city. The new agency will lead the continued delivery of our $100 million Oxley Creek transformation and will work on the next priority project in Archerfield, which is starting shortly. The agency will work to tackle the long-term sustainability challenges that our city and the suburbs faces, and they'll do partnerships with local industry, local business and local community groups on our path to becoming an even cleaner, greener and more sustainable Brisbane. Of course, that journey starts with the steps taken by every single household on the issue of waste management, and our team has a strong and enviable record. It's often forgotten that some other areas of Queensland are still unable to provide basic recycling services to residents. Here in Brisbane, more than 113,000 households have added a green bin to their homes, slashing the amount of green waste that ends up in red top bins, and that means less waste going to landfill. We've also delivered on our promise to make larger recycling bins available to households for free. And we've extended tip vouchers to all residents, regardless of whether they're a homeowner or not. I can also reveal today that we're undertaking a pilot FOGO program. The pilot program will involve residents in selected suburbs being able to put food organics, like vegetable scraps, into their green waste bin in addition to garden waste. It's part of a major waste strategy we've been working on with the South East Queensland Council of Mayors for some time. And this pilot will assess
Councillors, please allow the Lord Mayor to be heard in silence. The Lord Mayor.
And this exciting pilot, Mr Chair, will assess how this form of waste management works in our subtropical climate. Now, while I'm on the topic of waste, I can't ignore the extremely concerning news that we heard in the state budget yesterday. Now, despite a solid commitment that the state waste levy would not impact on households, we've just discovered that they plan to slash the offsetting funding provided to councils to offset the cost to residents of their waste levy. Now, that funding is going to be ripped away in just 12 months' time. This means Labor's landfill levy will become a $37 million bin tax on Brisbane households. Labor's broken promise is expected to result in every Brisbane household being slapped with an increase of $88 extra per year in waste charges. Mr Chair, my team is going to fight this, and we've started today. While Brisbane has certainly come roaring back strongly after the pandemic, the task of backing our business is not over and will never be over. Our economy, while more resilient than many other cities, is not completely back on its feet. Our international borders remain closed, and the absence of international visitors and tourists and students, as well as COVID restrictions, place a significant burden on many businesses.
What about the impacts on homeless residents, Lord Mayor?
As you continue to fail to comply with the request to take remedial action for your unsuitable meeting conduct in accordance with Section 21(9) of the Meetings Local Law 2001, I hereby order you to leave and stay away from the chamber, the antechamber, the public gallery for the duration of the meeting. If you refuse to comply with this order, your conduct will be treated as inappropriate conduct in accordance with Section 21(11)(b) of the Meetings Local Law 2001. For any conjecture about that, that's the balance of today, that's Friday, and both meetings next week. Lord Mayor, can I ask you to turn your microphone on, then back on again, please? Then back on again. Thank you.
Point of order.
Point of order, Councillor Johnston.
Just to be clear, could you just confirm for us which section of the Meetings Local Law you're referring to? Because I thought it was just for the balance of
the meeting.
Yeah, but that's
right.
That's today.
This is one meeting, Councillor Johnston.
Well, why do we sign in every day then, Mr Chairman? Why do we do apologies every day?
No more, Councillor Johnston. Lord Mayor, please continue.
Sorry, Mr Chairman, I'm just asking a procedural question. We're told that they are separate meetings and must be present for to sign in on separate days.
Yeah. No, it's pretty straightforward. Your understanding is not correct. The Lord Mayor.
So I don't need to sign in for that. Okay, thank you. If I'm not here, that's fine. One meeting, that's great.
Thank you,
Lord
Mr
Mayor.
Chair. We know that the task of supporting our local businesses is not over and will be ongoing, and we're up to the task of doing that. We know that there's certain restrictions that are on businesses at the moment, and I mentioned the tourism impact and the impact of international students being not here as well. So one of the ways that we'll be responding to this going forward, Mr Chair, is that we'll be slashing footpath dining fees in half for the next 12 months. This will benefit all venues, whether they are currently approved to place tables and chairs on the footpath or whether they are wanting to expand. This cut will be applied to the cost of applications, assessments and renewals. It will make outdoor dining far more attractive for restaurateurs and cafe owners, regardless of whether they are located in the city or the suburbs. Mr Chair, I am enormously proud to lead a team with an equal number of men and women. Now, this is not only a first for Brisbane, but it puts us well ahead of other levels of government when it comes to gender balance and representation. Now, there's still a lot of work to be done in dealing with the issues impacting particularly on women, and my team will not shirk its responsibilities. We provide a flexible and inclusive work environment for our staff. All councillors benefit from unlimited maternity leave, as well as the ability to participate in meetings remotely from home where they need to do so. Yesterday,
Councillors, no, Councillor Cook. No, do not interject. Please allow the Lord Mayor to be heard. Lord Mayor.
Yesterday, Mr Chair, we changed council sitting times to more family-friendly hours. It's something I committed to do and something that is important not only for councillors with young children, but to make sure that we can all do our jobs better for the people of Brisbane. Today, I can announce that we're committing $100,000 a year for the next 3 years to the Women's Legal Services Hotline. This undertakes important work offering free information and advice to women reaching out for help. Sadly, as many as 40% of calls go unanswered due to a lack of resources. We want to help to change all of that,
please cease interjecting or I will move to the formal processes. The Lord Mayor.
I can also reveal a new $250,000 grant for women in business, which is a very exciting new initiative. We know Brisbane is home to so many inspirational women who have started their own businesses, and these new grants will help them undertake training, coaching and purchase the equipment they need to help them grow. I'm also pleased that this year our Asia Pacific City Summit is back in Brisbane, one of the most successful summits of its type in the world. The event in September will send a clear message to the world that Brisbane is back in business. And along with our successful local buy initiative, we'll also continue our popular 7-day supplier payment program. This recent initiative ensures small businesses of less than 20 people are paid within a week rather than the normal 30 days. These are just a few of the practical and affordable ways that we're helping the city recover and supporting our local businesses. Mr Chair, this budget is the product of a lot of hard work, and I'd like to thank my team on behalf of the people of Brisbane. I want to thank the Deputy Mayor, Councillor Krista Adams, and the Finance Chair, Councillor Adam Allen, for their sage advice and assistance. Like me, they're dedicated to ensuring our budget focuses on what matters, and that is the 1.2 million Brisbane residents we represent. I also want to acknowledge the dedication and support of the Chief Executive Officer, Colin Jensen, the Divisional Manager, Bill Lyon, the Chief Financial Officer, Paul Overley, as well as Mark Russell, Tanya Nish, Catherine Swift, and the whole budget team for their support and their hard work in recent times. From my office, I'd also like to thank my Chief of Staff, Deputy Chief of Staff Chris, my Deputy Chief of Staff Jeff, Senior Advisors Stephen and Michael, and also Policy Advisor Tristan as well. Mr Chair, as I started with, last year, the people of Brisbane chose me as their Lord Mayor, and our dedicated team of councillors were resoundingly backed by the people of Brisbane. They did this during unprecedented and precarious circumstances. They chose experience over the alternative. They wanted a united and committed team that would do what was necessary to make sure our city recovered, a team that would build a better Brisbane. Today, I deliver a budget which is true to our commitment for the people of Brisbane. It's a budget for all of Brisbane. It's a budget for the suburbs. It's a budget that gets the priorities right for not only for the immediate challenges today, but it's also a budget that invests in the right areas for the future ahead. It makes the choice to build Brisbane bigger and better through visionary projects, record infrastructure investment, and world-class services in the suburbs. We can do this while ensuring that Brisbane's finances remain in the black. We can do all this without foisting the costs and consequences of inaction onto future generations. Our budget, Mr Chair, is the product of many years of making the right decisions. Because we deliberately chose to keep the budget strong and balanced despite the pandemic, and because we chose to direct critical funds where they were needed the most during a time of extreme hardship, we're now positioned to bounce back even brighter. The sensible and focused choices we made last year and the year before mean that we have more choices today and into the future. Today, we choose to build the transport network of tomorrow. Today, we choose to invest in a more livable and sustainable Brisbane. Today, we choose to invest in our suburbs. And today, we choose to make Brisbane even better tomorrow. Mr Chair, I commend this budget to the chamber.
Lord Mayor, can I please call on you to move a resolution that we now adjourn till 9 a.m. on Friday morning?
Mr Chair, I now move that this meeting of Council be adjourned until 9 a.m. on Friday, 18th of June 2021.
Seconded.
It's been moved by the Lord Mayor, seconded by the Deputy Mayor, that this meeting of Council be adjourned until 9 a.m. on Friday, the 18th of June 2021. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Those against, please say no. The ayes have it. The meeting is adjourned.